This is part 4 of modeling a deep sea diving helmet. And I wanted to say a couple things before we get started. First of all, thank you very much for watching the series. It is a series, so it's not just one video, it's multiple parts. This was a request, and you know, it's not something that you could really do in one sitting in a 15-minute video unless I did a time lapse. And I know some of you have said that you don't really want to see time lapses, you want to see the step by step. The other thing is, for anybody who might be following along and doing this as well, you have to understand that as I progress in the model, you know, I'm going to go back to different pieces and I'm going to do some scaling and you know, adjust some edge loops and stuff. So it's not like I always you know, get through it in one shot and that's the final piece of the model. It takes some tweaking and stuff, so I hope you don't find that too frustrating. But anyways, what I want to do right now is I want to work more on this front piece here and the grill, I guess we'll call it. There are lots of different versions of these helmets, and so I'm sort of going back and forth between a few different images. One of the ones that I found that I'm using is this one. And you can see that my stuff looks somewhat similar to that. Anyways, I'm going to work on this stuff right here. All right, and one thing I noticed is there's an extra ring of metal here outside of this piece that I had made. Okay, this piece here. There's another piece in there, so I want to put that in right now. I'm not worrying about exact sizes or dimensions. I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to Shift D and move it out, P to break it out. So I've got that as a separate piece. I'm going to set the origin to geometry on that guy. So that's going to be there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to E and S. I'm just going to scale it in a little bit like that, and I'm going to give it a bit of thickness. E, I think I'll go backwards. I'm going to take the whole thing and move it out so I can put some edge loops on this. So I'm going to bring an edge loop down here and one up here, and we're going to come around to the back if we can get to it, and we'll delete those back faces. X faces, and I'll shade smooth. So you see that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it all. I'm going to go Alt N, recalculate outside for my normals, and it should fix it, and then it's okay. Let's move that back in and see what that would be like. I might want to scale it out a little bit so it seems like it fits. I'm just going to go S, push till it sort of pushes into that, and pull it out a little bit. Now let me have a sense of, I think I might even want it a little bit thicker. I'm going to turn off subdivision surface and Shift Alt and click there. I'm going to come one more, Control plus, so I get that extra edge loop, and I'm going to just Alt S. Come in like this. That's what I want. I'll put that back on. The other thing that I want to do is I want to angle this in a little bit. So I'm going to grab that edge loop and I'm going to pull it in a bit. And I'm actually going to grab this one, I'm going to pull it in as well. So the whole thing kind of angles in. I don't know how visible that will be, but that's what I'm going to go with. All right, let me get my screencast keys going again. Okay, so we got that going now. Another thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring this out, and I'm going to bring my 3D cursor right there. I'm actually going to delete that. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to bring in a UV sphere, and I'm going to go for, what do I want to do, 16 and 8. And look from the side view, rotate X90, go into edit mode and wireframe. And I'm going to box select all these back ones and delete them. And I'll select it, A to select, S to scale, and scale it down like this. I'm going to scale this in the Y as well. And start bringing that in. I'm going to scale in the Y again. Let's have a look at where that is. I'm going to shade smooth. Now, I'm going to actually scale this globally a bit. so that edges are under. Let's see if that pokes through. Doesn't. Looks a bit smoother. We're not going to see very well in there. I think I want that, but I might actually want it scaled in the Y a little bit more, protruding and back. I'll probably do something similar for these ones, maybe not for that one. All right, so I think that's going to be an improvement. I'm going to Shift C, just bring my 3D cursor back right to the origin and the whole model. All right, cool. So now those grates, if you call them that. I'm actually going to be switching where I put my 3D cursor. I'm actually going to select this ring, which is nice and symmetrical right in the middle. Shift S cursor to select it there. And I'm going to bring in a circle. And I'm going to go with 16 vertices, I think. And I'm going to rotate X90. Look from the front, scale it down, pull it out, look from the front. And I'm going to move this over here. Now this is going to sort of overlap. Actually, I think I'm going to do it with respect to the top. I'm going to put it about there because then there's going to be that clip that's going to go up there. So what we'll do is we'll delete those bottom vertices and take that. And I'm going to scale this in the Z a bit and flatten it out like that. We'll mess around with this and we'll see what we think. Okay, I'm going to take that, Shift D. I'm going to rotate this, rotate Y 180, and bring it down to about the same position. And then I'm going to take these vertices F, these vertices F, and I've got that piece right there. Okay, I'm going to give this some height, extrude in the Y, just like that. Select it all. Now, I'm going to make sure all my polys are facing the right way. I'm going to go Alt-N, recalculate outside, E and Alt-S, and I'm going to, let's say, okay, so we're getting some weird stuff going on here. Okay, let's not do that. Let's make sure that's like that. E and Alt-S. Okay, we got it now. That's what I wanted. Okay, good. Okay, Control 2 for 2 subdivisions, and we'll put some edge loops in here. I'm going to do them on the top, and I'll pull one down here and one up here. I don't need it too tight. Let's put one more here, and let's get rid of those back faces. Shade smooth. Pull it back, and then we'll look at approximate sizes for this thing. And then this will get rotated. It won't stay in that orientation. So this is what I'm making right here. Okay, you can see that it goes pretty much to the extent of this circle, and then these other pieces come off. So I could take this and let's see if I just scale it in the Z. It's very small amount of scaling, so I'm not going to worry. I'm going to do it to there. I think that's all right. Now, these pieces, if you look on different images, sometimes they look like they come right out of these. Sometimes they look like they're underneath and maybe welded on the bottom. I'm going to make them as separate objects, and I'm just going to push them on, but not right at the top, sort of in the middle or the bottom area. That didn't make sense, but you'll see what I mean. Okay, so with my 3D cursor right there, that's okay. I'm going to Shift A, mesh. I'm going to bring in another circle. And what do we want to go for? We want to go for 12, maybe. I'm just looking at a piece of paper. I wrote down a couple of numbers, but I don't know if I'm following it. Rotate X90. Look from the front. Scale it down. And just kind of start positioning it around the top. Let's go into one. What I'm going to be doing anyhow is I'm going to be deleting these bottom ones and scaling this a bit more and positioning it. So it's going to come pretty much out to the edge there, very close. These pieces are going to come down straight, and that's probably okay. So let's just go ahead. Actually, I think the way I'm going to do this, I take it back. I'm going to select it all, extrude the whole thing, and bring it down like that. And now I want them straight across in the Z. So I'm going to go SZ0. And I'll just pull this up as if it's underneath there. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a bit of thickness, like this. I could probably delete those back faces right now. I'll leave it like that. Let's try a subdivision surface on this with shade smooth. And an edge loop here. And maybe we'll put an edge loop in here. And we'll leave it at that. Let's set the origin of geometries. What did I do? That's not what I wanted to do. Set the origin of geometry and pull it in. So what I meant to say is I was going to put it around there or so. Well, on the other hand, maybe everything's going to go back. And maybe I will bring this right back. Touch. Something like that. This piece, yeah, that's all right. Okay, a little bit of this part showing, a little bit of that part showing, this coming pretty much to the edge of that, right? Maybe there's a space there or whatever, but I'm not going to get into that. I feel like I want it flatter. Scale this in the Z a little bit. Yeah, right. Okay, that looks okay. So let's mirror that. Let's take this and let's set the origin of geometry. And let's put the cursor to selected. Take this, set the origin of the 3D cursor, and let's mirror this. Oh, there we go. So I'd have that. I hope that looks all right. Now, this I'm going to create. Yeah, I'm going to create a new collection for that, and I'm going to say a new collection, and I'm going to call this front grille. Let's say. I think that's what I want to do. All right, so I can easily get that if I wanted to. Right now, though, I'm just going to Shift-D, rotate Y90, and let's deselect for now. Oh, and you'll see that how they intersect. Now, that wouldn't be visible in a render, and that's kind of the way they sort of just blend into each other. But I'm not sure I like that very much, so I might take this one and just nudge it ever so slightly under. Okay, now, if I have all that, yeah. So now that I've got that, I think maybe I'll do the bolts first. These won't be here. Of course, I'm going to rotate all this. Now, for the bolts, I'm not certain. I might just do placeholder bolts right now. Or I might just keep, this style of straightforward. So let's just bring in a circle. What do we got? 12. That's going to be just fine. Let's rotate X90. Something really, really simple. It's just a circle, essentially. Let's look from the front and zoom in. Just like this. When that happens, when you zoom in and you start to sort of cut away at it, hit N and go up to View and change Clip Start to something like 0.001, and that'll be, you won't that won't happen for quite a while. Now, I'm thinking for this, maybe I'll E and S, and then E and Alt M merge at center. You could do it that way. Oh, not that. And grab the edge, E, bring it back to give it some thickness, and Control B, just bevel, put maybe one bevel in there, and hopefully all my polys are all right. And then shade smooth. It's really not going to be very visible. I could try a subdivision surface. What would one do on that? That would be just fine. Okay, that's it. Let's set the origin of geometry though. Make sure that's in. All right, so again, it doesn't look all that convincing, but we'll go with that for now. And then we'll just copy it by eye. Like that. Shift D and G. Put it there. Shift D and move that apart, across. All right, let's front grille. Everything's in the front grille. So now I can just select objects. I get the whole thing. And I can now just rotate this around. So I'm going to go RY 45. And there we go. There's my front grille with the extra piece and this piece. And the final thing I think I will do right now in this video is I am going to revisit this, and I'll grab those. Do I have everything that I need? Yeah. I'm going to look from the top. I'm going to pull that in a little bit more. And I think in wireframe, I'm going to grab these and these. I'll come back to solid. And I'm going to scale in the X. And I just want this a little bit more rounded. And that's about it. So what I should do though is I'll show you something. We're going to come over here. We're going to put on the cavity shader and this matte cap. And you might look and say this looks kind of sickly, like really dark green. Some of my polys I think are flipped the wrong way. So I'm going to select everything, go to edit mode of everything, and let's have a look at these things as I do this. Alt N. Recalculate outside, and they've lighten up you, and we now have that. And what we should do eventually, or now, is take one of these and we'll try to put it in here. So let's see if we can get this to work. Not too much trouble. Go to the sides because I've rotated everything. Let's set the origin of geometry. Let's see how we want to do this. Let's rotate this in the Z. I'm going to hold down Shift as well. It's going to allow me to do it a bit slower. Rotate in the Z. And I'll just position this. And we'll see. I could try local. Let's push that in further. Let's take this one and delete, and this one. I hope I got the right one. Yes. Yeah, no one will be able to see if the angle is a little bit off, but I do think that it looks a little bit better. So we'll get rid of this one as well, and well. I could just take this and move this to side vent. Just want to make sure it's not sticking out. And I could delete this one and just copy the other one again and rotate it. Might be quicker to do. Let's go back to global. Select them. And that should get everything okay. Before we do that though, I'm going to go Shift C, bring my 3D cursor right back to the middle, and I'm going to switch to 3D cursor as my pivot and select all of that. And I'm going to look from the front, and I'm going to Shift D, rotate Z, and I'm going to move it. And I'm doing this relatively by eye, and we're just going to stick it right there. Okay, just from the top. Looks pretty good. Well, maybe this one isn't rotated quite enough, but I'm going to leave it like that for now. And that is what we've got. So we've made some improvements to this kind of thing, and that extra piece, and the grill, and the bolts, if those are the ones we're going to keep. And what we're going to do next time as we come along to this is we're going to start adding some of the handles and stuff and the hinges to this. Great. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and check out some more of my videos coming up soon.